Congress is not filled with criminals. Our Congress is filled with people who went there for whatever reason they might have gone there, but for a reason. And they try to do what they do in that world, given the world they live in. But that world forces them to be corrupt in a way that is fundamentally destroying this republic. That corruption is legal and in plain sight. Everybody recognizes it. When a member of Congress has to spend 30 to 70% of her time raising money to get back to Congress or to get her party back in power, she becomes corrupted by the system, constantly adjusting in a sixth sense what she does in light of what she knows she needs to do to raise the money to get back to Congress. In the words of X-Files, they become shapeshifters, members of Congress, constantly adjusting who they are in light of what they need to be in order to raise the money in order to get back to Congress. They raise money in large contributions. The max that anybody can give is $2,500 today in any one election cycle. And those people who give $2,500 in an election cycle, they are the people who matter. They are the people who count. So when you carry signs on Wall Street or here that say, we are the 99%, forget the 99%. We are the 99.95% of people who have never maxed out in a congressional election campaign by giving the maximum amount. It is 0.05% of America who has given $2,500 in the last election to a congressional candidate. 0.05%, and Congress listens to them. Congress does what they want. Study after study can demonstrate the way in which what they want bends Congress towards what Congress does. Now, there couldn't have been a better place in all of America to begin this fight than on Wall Street. Because there is not a better place in America to demonstrate this corruption than on Wall Street. Wall Street, from the period of 1991 until 2008, essentially bought a system of deregulated markets. Deregulated markets completely against the theory of how to make markets work by making them transparent and responsible. They exempted themselves from those rules through derivatives, and those derivatives took off in this huge shadow market that was unstable and eventually brought the whole economy down. Now, some people can say, I think rightly, what do you expect? All the economists were telling the congressman at the time, this made a lot of sense. All the economists said deregulation is the right thing to do. It was the zeitgeist. Of course, nobody knew those economists were on the pay of the very banks who were arguing for deregulation. Put that aside, we understand why Congress did what it did. But the terrifying fact, the truly terrifying fact, is not what happened before 2008, it's what happened after 2008. After this corruption had brought the economy down, after this economy was destroyed by this system of deregulated markets, which produced the dumbest form of socialism ever invented by man, where they socialized the risk and privatized the benefit, where they got the upside and we paid the downside. After that was demonstrated completely, after the dean of deregulation, Alan Greenspan, confessed he was, quote, mistaken in testimony on Capitol Hill about the ability of markets to take care of themselves, after all of that, Wall Street still had enough power to blackmail Washington into not changing the system of regulation fundamentally, so that the banks that were too big to fail are only bigger. Today, the system is just as unstable. Indeed, people whose salary are not paid by Wall Street say more unstable today than it was in 2008. And that is terrifying. It is the first time in American history where we have seen a collapse followed by no fundamental re-regulation of the financial services sector, because they have the power to block change from either the Democrats or the Republicans, because they can say to the Democrats and to the Republicans, if you don't back us, we guarantee you will lose in the next election. They are the largest single group of contributors to congressional elections of any in the country, and they hold this country hostage because of that power because of that corruption. Now this movement begins on Wall Street, and it points